All right then. So in the up to the previous video, we successfully finished the search options and with these banner sections and everything. So now we have to finish this category sections over here. So we created a new component for that specific category section, but we haven't. We haven't imported. We haven't used it in our page.tsx. So now what I need to do is I have to bring it right after over here, right? So this is the place where this is the part that which we are exactly trying to create it. If you look at here, so if I click this is going to push me with this specific category ID to the search page, so you can filter it based on it. And if you have a look at it, it's having a different sets of icons for each and every category which is coming from our MongoDB. But if you look at the MongoDB, we don't have that specific category. See, for specific category, it doesn't have any icon name or nothing, literally nothing. We just have the name and its ID alone. So how to map these things, we are going to look into it, and we are going to do all those things. All right, so first what I'm going to do is for the home screen over here, so we just let's say this as RAFC as home screen categories container, something like this. Okay, so save it for the time being, and let's bring that home screen categories container over here. Now we need to supply the categories. So what I need to do, we need to supply this category. So I'm going to create an interface, home screen container props, open it. I need the categories, which is going to be the category type from the Prisma client, and let's supply it over here. Let's say home screen container props, and let's apply the categories into it. And over here we have to do the same thing. Let's bring the categories and let's apply the categories in it over here. Perfect. Now we will receive all the sets of categories into it. Okay, so first, what I need to do is I need to map all these icons with the specific category name. So we know that in the seeds.file inside the scripts folder, where it is over here, we manually pushed all these software development, web development, and all these things. So just like the same way, we're going to manually map those value. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open the utils.ts from the lib file. Okay, this is the place, and let me get back to the gist. You can access this link from the description below, and if you scroll all the way to the bottom, you can find this export type icon name, and with this icon mapping, where we are mapping each and every icon with that specific category. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this import statement. So I'm going to paste it straight away over here. Then I'm going to copy this export type of that each icon. So these for each and icon name, these are all the icon name, and I'm going to map for that icon name with the specific icons which we imported from the top. So I'm going to have one more icon mapping. So over here we have the icon name for this icon name, and we have the lucid icon which is imported from the lucid react. So what we're trying to do is for this particular type, I'm going to map this icon. So just like the exact same way we are mapping it as an object. Okay, so we can use this inside for our purpose. So you can simply copy this code and paste it, otherwise you can type it all by yourself, but in this case I strongly recommend you to copy it from here. Okay, so let's get back over here and save these things. Let's get back to the home container. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this, close all these things, open the box, let it import from the add component section, close it, and let's say class name flex column, and margin top, let's say 12. And inside this box, what I'm going to do, I'm going to have a class with a division class name, which is going to be a complete with flex. Make sure it should wrap its if, and then item center, justify everything center, gap between them, it's going to be 4. And inside here, so before that, let me enable the word wrap. So here, now what I need to do is I'm going to map through the categories. So let's say categories dot map. Then I'm going to get the item out of it, go call a callback render function, and here I'm going to bring that list item card. So I'm going to say category list item card, which we don't have this one yet. So I'm going to keep this as the internal component only. So what I'm going to do is, so let's say above here, I'm just going to say export const category list item card, which is going to be like this. And let's say it should return a division for the time being, or we can say it should use this card at from add components UI. Okay, and then I'm just going to say hi. Okay, so now here we need to supply the key which is going to be the item.id. Then we need to supply the item itself, item, which is going to be the entire item. Okay, so here, or we can simply keep it as a data. So now what I need to do is, for this also I need to create a prop, right? So let's get back over here. This is going to receive the data prop, which is going to be the type of the category itself, something like this. Okay, fine. So now inside here, inside this card, what I'm going to do is, so I'm going to bring the data name. So we are going to display the category dot name over here. So save these changes and let's see how exactly it is looking right now. There we go. So this is how it should look, right? It is looking just like this. So now let's get back to the card over here and let's make some changes over here. Class name, which is going to be flux item center, and gap, which is going to be 2, and padding, which is going to be 2. Text should be muted, foreground. All right, then on hover, the text color should be purple 500. This is when we are hovering it, and when you're hovering it, the border color also should be purple 500, something like this. Okay, and whenever you're hovering it, we need to bring the shadow, then the cursor should be a pointer, something like this, right? So save these changes. All right, perfect. Then now we need to, if you look at it here, we having the exact same UI, which is just like this. So now when you're, even if you're scrolling it, this is how it looks like. So just exactly the same way, now we need to map all these icons. So that is what we are going to do now. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to create one more internal component over here. Let's say export const icon is equals to, we need to supply the category name inside. Based on that, we can export that components, right? So const icon component is equals to, so what I need to do is, over here I'm going to receive the category name, which is going to be the property. So name, which is coming from name colon icon name, from where, from at lab utils. So this should match this icon name, which we are going to receive it from here. Okay, from here. So icon component, which is going to be icon mapping, and I'm going to map that with this specific name. So make sure these icon mapping and the icon name are coming from at your utils file. Then all I have to do is to return, if I do have the icon component, then I need to return it something like this, icon component slash class name, which is going to be width as 5, height as 5, height as 5. Okay, if not, at the end we simply return it as a null. All right. Okay, so now all we have to do is to use this icon somewhere inside our component, right? Nothing but over here. So I'm going to delete that name for the time being. So let me bring that icon component from here. So for this component, now what we need to do, we need to supply the name. All right, so I'm going to supply data dot name. But the problem is data.name is a string, but we need to send this name in this type. So we need to send it in this specific icon name. So now you will not get any error over here. All right. Then I'm going to create a span tag, which is going to display the data.name inside in it, data.name. And let's make sure this class name, it always should have the width as 28. And I'm going to truncate some unwanted spaces over here, and white space, no wrap. Okay, and at the end I'm gonna bring the chevron right side icon, which is going to be class name, and width as 4, height as 4. Save those changes, and now it should map something like this. Look at that. This is all we needed. Now when I click this, it needs to push the user to the search page where filter the data based on the category ID. Okay, so in order to do that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create an on-click event for this specific function, which is going to have a callback function called handle click, and I'm gonna supply the data.id into it. Okay, so now we need to create this function. So I'm just going to say const handle click is equals to a callback function, open it, and this is going to receive the category ID as the parameter in the type of string. Okay, then inside here, now what we need to do is just exactly the same thing what we did for pushing the URL. So I'm going to bring it over here, href, bring the query stringify the URL with the specific URL, and in the query parameter you need to add the category ID, and we need to push the router. So let's import these two packages. So import qs from query string, then we need to import that, we need to bring that router object as well as, so we can create the router instance straight away over here. So const router is equals to use router. Okay, so router from next navigation, import it. All right, so now we have that, and we should fix this. Everything should be fixed now. So let's save these changes. Bingo. So this is what exactly we needed. Now if I supply for, where is the software development? Yep, here it is. Now if I click this ID, that should push the user. There we go. See, it is working just exactly what it's supposed to. Okay, so we fixed this main screen category ID perfectly, and now all we have to do is to bring the featured companies for which is actively hiring. Right, for that specific section over here, what I'm going to do is I'm gonna bring the company list as a component. So let's go here and bring that company list. So companies list slash, okay, let's make this home companies list. Perfect. And it is going to have the companies, and we need to send the companies which we haven't get it from that server itself. So let's get the server. Oh, we have the data, then why it's not displaying over here? Okay, so now all we have to do is to create this component. So let's get back to our page. This is the page.tsx, and this is the, where it is. Wait, let me collapse it. And here dashboard routes, this is the page, and inside this components I'm going to create a new file called home companies list.tsx, and let's say use client. Okay, so here I'm just going to say rafc, and let's say home companies list, and this one is going to have the interface as home companies list props, which is going to be the companies itself, and which is going to be the type of the company from Prisma client as an array. And let's destructure it over here by extending this home, come on, home company list props. From there I'm going to supply the companies. Okay, so save it, and now you should import it. This problem will be resolved, and you should be able to see that the home companies list. Perfect. Now let's get back to the home companies list component, and let's start writing some styles over here. So I'm going to break it. So I'm going to say box from add components. Make sure that is being imported from add components. Then it's going to have flex column and my, which is going to be 12. Enter. And here I'm going to bring an h2 tag, so which is simply going to be looking like this: text to Excel, tracking wider, font bold, font size, and featured companies actively hiring. So save it, and that should look something like this. Bingo. Then right after here, I'm going to create a division where I'm going to display. So margin top is going to be 12, and width, of course, it's going to be full. Flex item center, justify center, oops, item center, justified center, then flex, everything should be a wrap. Then gap, it's going to be 4. And then inside here we need to render the companies dot using the map function, get out of each and every item out of it. in here. Then I'm going to bring the company list item card, which we haven't created yet. So I'm going to supply the company detail into it, which is going to be the item itself. Then I'm going to supply the key, which is going to be the item.id. No issues. Let's create this component as an internal component itself. Right straight away over here, I'm just going to say const company list item card, open it. Okay, then what we have to do here, I need to destructure the company, which is going to be the type of the company, which is going to be the company itself. Then now here I'm going to return a card from add components, and inside here I'm going to have an h2 tag. Then I'm going to display the company name in it, company.name in it. Let's save these changes and let's see how it does. It looks, this is how it looks. Perfect. Okay. So actually for the companies, what we should do is we need to make sure that this company is a featured company. So we need to add one more key value in our schema, and you can keep that whether that company is featured or not. If it is featured, you can display it on the home screen. Otherwise, literally it's going to display all the companies. But in this case, we already finished it, but this is the one that we need to keep in mind, and we need to upgrade it in the next thing. Okay, fine. So next what we have to do is let's add some styles for this. So here I'm just going to say class name, padding 4, flex item center, gap of course it's going to be 2, and text muted it's going to be foreground. On hover I'm going to say text purple 500, and on hover I'm going to bring the border purple 500, and on hover I'm going to say shadow as medium, then cursor as the pointer. Okay, so let me bring the word wrap so we can see everything just like this. All right, now for this, okay, now for this one, class name, font of course it's going to be serif, then font of course it's going to be semi bold, tracking wider, and white space no wrap. Save it. This is how it should looks like. All right, perfect. And now whenever I'm clicking this, on click I'm going to call a callback function, which is going to use the router instance. So let's get the router instance. Const router is equals to use router from next navigation, and now let's push the user to that specific place. Let's bring the dynamic string literals and say company slash dollar company dot id. Okay, so when the user clicks this specific company, he will be navigated to that specific company page. Okay, okay, why we are getting page not found error? What is the page? Oh, this is supposed to be companies. This is supposed to be companies. That is the mistake. Yep. And now if you click it, that is going to take you to that specific company. There we go. See, just like that. All right, now we fix that, and now all we have to do is to bring the recommended jobs. Okay, so let's go ahead and bring the recommended job sections. Okay, so basically we can do bring the recommended jobs over here. What I can do is I can create a component first. I'm just going to say recommended jobs list, and here we need to supply the jobs, which is going to be the jobs itself. Then I'm going to supply the user ID, which is going to be the user ID itself. So let's go ahead and create that component first. So inside here, I'm going to create recommended jobs.tsx, and here I'm just going to say use client. Okay, and then RAFC recommended jobs list, and this is going to take the interface recommended jobs list props, open it, and this is going to take the jobs as the jobs from the Prisma client, which is going to be an array. Then it's going to take the user ID, which is going to be a string, or it can be a null, something like that. Then let's destructure it over here from recommended job list props, and let's say jobs and the user id. So save it and let's bring it over here. Okay, so instead of sending that complete jobs, I'm going to splice it. Then I'm going to display from 0 to 6 alone. Save it. First 6 jobs from the top 6 jobs. So here also we need to make sure whether we need to add one more field in our schema, like whether it is recommended or not. You can mark it as a recommended, then you can splice it to 6. Then you can filter the data based on the recommended jobs alone. All right. For the time being, let's keep it as it is. All right, so let's get into that component and start designing it. So where it is, here we are. So I'm going to delete this and I'm going to bring the box in it, add components, then class name, flex column, justify everything in the center, and gap y 4, my it's going to be 6, mt it's going to be 12, enter. Then I'm going to bring an h2 which is going to display. So I'm going to bring it from our previous component itself, h2 tag, as a recommended jobs. Then division, class name, margin top, which is going to be 4. And inside here, I'm going to bring the page content from the search route/search, because for this we need to supply the jobs, which is going to be the jobs itself. Then you need to supply the user ID, which is going to be the user ID itself. Okay, so now if you save these changes and let's get back over here and let's see, this is how it should looks like. Perfect. All right. Then underneath it is we need to bring one more option to where the user can view all the jobs. So I'm going to bring a link from next link. Then I'm going to bring a button from add components, and inside this button, so for this, for the time being, we need to add the href, which is going to be /search itself. Then for the class name, which is going to be margin top 8, top and bottom should be 8. And inside this button, what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring, let's say, view all jobs. And for this button, class name, which is going to be width as 44, h as 12, rounded XL, border purple 500. Oops, sorry. Height as 12, then rounded XL and border purple 500, and hover BG should be transparent, and on hover shadow should be medium, and the text color should be purple 500. Okay, then on hover text purple should be 600. Let me enable the word wrap so you can see it completely. Perfect. Save it, and this is not supposed to be, it looks like. Okay, so BG should be transparent, just like that. Then we need to bring the border. Perfect. And now when I hover it, this is how it should look like. Okay, so that's looking how exactly we wanted it. If you click search, that will push the user to where? To the search page. All right. So now all we have to do, bring this dummy content, which is going to be your footer itself. You can simply copy this footer component from the gist file, which I given there. You can simply copy and paste it over here. So what you have to do is get back to the gist file, and right after this icon mapping, you can able to find this footer.tsx. So all you have to do is to copy this complete footer.tsx file coding, just like this. So don't worry, these are all or just a static content. We are not doing anything over here. So you can simply copy and paste it over here. So I'm going to create a footer right after this recommended jobs list. Let's say footer, which we don't have it yet. So all I have to do is to create that in the global components over here. Let's say footer.tsx. Okay, and paste it. That's it. We don't need to change anything at all. Then all you have to do is to get back over here, import it, save it, and just exactly this is how it should looks. Okay. So all these images are being loaded from our local file only. No issues, nothing has been changed. And these are all just the dummy content. If you check it over here, see menu, and all these styles and everything are just hard coded. Facebook and link and everything is been hard coded. But if you wish to keep it for your own purpose, you should map all these things with a different array created in the utils and map it properly. It will work perfectly. All right, so perfect. Now we successfully finished the home page. All right, so search page, this is how it looks like, the search page. And if you get to the profiles, this is how, wait a minute, this is how the profile page will looks like, where you can see all your applied jobs and the followed companies list over here. And if you click the save jobs, this is how the saved jobs will looks like. All right, perfect. All right then, so now what we have to do is we have to bring this analytics page. So let me refresh it. Okay, so let me log in. I don't know why it's asking me to log in again, so let me log in. Okay, so here we go. So this is what we need to do. We need to bring this analytics page where we have the total job created by the user and total companies and how many companies created by that specific user, and the jobs created by the users. We have the charts and the companies created by the users and all these things. Okay, so let's go ahead and create these things, and maybe you can add much more analytics just like the way how we are going to do for this. But for to keep it simple, I just added these two. All right, so I'm going to close all these things. Okay, so let me create, if I click this analytics, of course we will get 404. So this is the page we need to create. So copy it and get into the app and dashboards, and in the routes I'm going to create, sorry, inside the admin we need to create a new page, new folder called analytics. Hit the enter, and over here I'm going to create page.tsx. all right, so over here we're just going to say sfc, and let's say dashboard analytics page, something like this. All right, and inside the division, let's say dashboard analytics. Save the changes, and you should see this dashboard analytics over here. So if you check it out over here, you can see we have this dashboard overview, and we have this 4 different boxes to display all these things. All right, so let's get over here and let's find out the total jobs, how many jobs on the portal, and how many jobs created by the user ID, and how many companies on the portal, and how many companies created by the user. So let's go ahead and create that. Okay, so first let's find that, and then we can get over here. So in order to do that, what I need to do is inside the actions folder, I'm going to create a new file called get overview analytics. That's the file that we are trying to create. So inside here, so what I'm going to do is first function that we need to figure it out, which is going to be the total jobs created by the user. So let's open that total jobs created by the user. So here export const get total jobs on portal. This is the function that we are going to use. Asynchronous, open it. Okay, and let's say const jobs is equals to await db, imported from there, db.job.find many, open it. And here let's order it by order by, open it, and created at colon, let's assign in the descending order, fine. Okay, so next what I need to do, this function is going to return jobs.length. okay, this is what it's going to return. This is okay. Then I'm going to create one more function where, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to say export const get total jobs on portal by user ID. For that specific user ID, how many jobs he been created. So asynchronous supply, this function is basically going to take and the user ID itself. It can be either string or it can be null. Okay, so here if not user ID, if the user ID is not being passed, in that case I'm just going to return the value as 0. Otherwise I'm just going to say const jobs is equals to await db.job.find many, open it, and here you need to supply this user ID. Then we need to order the data by created at in the descending order. All right, then at the end all we have to do is to return the jobs dot length. So this will help you to get the jobs on the portal by the specific user ID. Now all we have to do is to exactly the same step for what for the company. So I'm going to copy and paste these two functions one more time, and instead of this get total jobs on portal, instead of this we need to change this to companies on portal. Instead of this jobs, I'm going to change this to companies, and instead of this job I'm going to change this to company. Perfect. And here also instead of this jobs I'm going to say companies by the user ID, and over here instead of this jobs I'm going to change this to companies, and here also let's change this to company. That's it. These are the four functions that we need to for this particular action. So let's get back over here, and now inside here what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete this, and I'm going to bring the box at components, and for this class name flex column. Okay, then item should be start and the padding should be 4. Then inside this I'm going to bring a division which is going to be a class name, which is going to be flex, and flex column item should be start, and inside here I'm going to bring the #2 tag. Okay, and a paragraph tag which is going to display the text like this: font sans, striking wider, font bold, and it's going to say dashboard. And inside here with this specific style I'm going to say overview your account. So now if I save this changes, this is how it should looks like, something like that. Then right after this division I'm going to bring the separator. So let's say separator from add components UI separator. Okay, that should bring that straight line over there. And for this I'm going to add some margin, so my which is going to be 4. That's how it should looks like. Then right after here, now what I need to do is we need to create a grid where we can display all these 4 different cards. Okay, so let's say I'm going to create a div class name which is going to be grid itself, grid, and gap of course it's going to be 4, and grid column it's going to be 1, and from the medium devices on the grid column it's going to be 4. Hit the enter. So over here now what I need to do is, so let's bring the card. So first what we need to do, we need to display the total jobs on the portal. So that is what we are displaying: total jobs on the portal, total jobs on the portal by user ID, company, company by user ID. So we have to create 4 divisions: total jobs on the portal, and total jobs on the portal by the user, then total companies on the portal, then total companies on the portal by user. All right, these are the things. So let's create a division for that. So here I'm going to say card, which is from add components UI, and inside here I'm going to bring the card header add components UI, and inside here I'm going to bring the card title, make sure from add components UI card title, which is going to be total jobs. Okay, and for this card header I'm going to say item should be in the center and justified between, and the flex should be the row. Okay, this is how it should looks like. Then I'm going to bring a briefcase business icon, which is going to be class name, width should be 4 and height should be 4. Save these changes, and this is how it should looks like. Okay, so why it is looking like this? Okay, so let's fix this styles. So let's say class name text should be small and font should be medium. Save it. Okay, so somewhere this is not getting aligned properly due to some reason, so let me make it bigger. Still the same. So let me copy this and paste it few more times. All right, Let me change this style. Still the same. How come? Inspect the elements. Console. Sorry, elements. Division. Grid. Okay, this particular grid is not taking the complete length. That's the reason. So let's make sure this is taking the complete width. Yep, now it is resolved. Whew. Okay, so now it is looks something like that. So let's fix this total jobs now. So for this total jobs, right after this card header, and I'm gonna bring the card content, where this is the place I'm gonna display that total count over here. So this is the place where we need to display the total count. So I'm going to say text, which is going to be 2XL, and font should be bold. So let's bring all those things right over here. So let's fetch all those things. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to say const is equals to auth, and I'm going to get that user ID over here. So if we don't have that user ID, then all we have to do, redirect the user to slash. Okay, and if I have that, if it is not redirecting, then of course we need to say total jobs on portal is equals to await get total jobs on portal, which is coming from. So let's make sure this as an asynchronous function. Perfect. So get total or get not total company, get total jobs on portal. Perfect. Then I'm going to copy this and paste it, and by user, and this time you need to say get total jobs on portal by user ID. So over here you need to supply the user ID. All right, then let's copy these two and paste it. So this time this is going to be not portal, this time this is going to be companies. Okay, copy it, and this is going to be companies. So here job on portal by user ID, and this is going to be companies. So let's make sure they are being imported properly. Okay, so this is the one. Okay, this is the one, because I think I missed the L over there. All right, fine. Let's import this one too. Perfect. Now we have all the 4 functions over here, which is going to have the total and everything. So now what I have to do is I'm gonna say over here, bring the total jobs on portal. So I'm just going to copy and paste it right after the header, paste it over here and over here. Okay, so let's change this. The first one is going to be total jobs on portal and total jobs by user, which is going to be total jobs by user. All right, and then over here this is going to be total companies. So instead of jobs you need to bring the companies, total companies on portal. Then over here total companies on portal by user ID. So this is going to be companies by user. Save it, and this is should update the details. Here we go. So total jobs and total jobs by the user, because I'm the one who created it, and overall companies and overall companies over here. All right, this is what it's supposed to looks like. Now if you click over here and if you log out, click me sign out, and if I click continue create a Gmail account and choose this another account, all right, so now if I click the admin mode and if I get back to the analytics and look at that, total jobs created by the user null and the companies null. Okay, this is how it should looks like if you go to the companies, everything will be empty, and the jobs, everything will be empty. And all I have to do is to get back. So sign out, log in again, choose my account, and let me get back over here. There we go. Click the admin mode. All right, click the analytics. All right, so let's get over here. Now all we have to do is to bring these charts, right? So in order to bring these charts, all we have to do is to install a package called recharts. So let's install that over here. npm install recharts. Okay, so hit the enter. So that will download that recharts. Let's wait. There we go. So it is downloaded. Close it, and let's bring the designs first. Let's bring how exactly it's looking like this. So let's bring that. So right after this, what we need to do is the card, everything. Okay, so right after this particular, this is the place over here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring the jobs, which is created by the count of the jobs created by month wise jobs count, how many jobs being created by the every single month, and then companies by month wise companies count. All right, these are the two things that we have to bring over here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy these two, paste it and paste it. For this and for this card, I'm going to say class name column span should be 1, but from the medium devices onwards, column span should be 2. Something like this. Save it, and you should be able to see over here something like this. All right. So now all we have to do is to delete this content. I don't want this. Sorry, I don't want this. And I don't want this over here, because this is the place where we are going to display the chart. So instead of total companies by user, this is month wise jobs count, and this is month wise companies count. All right, save the changes. This is how it should looks like. Okay, so now inside here, now what we need to do is we need to bring the charts. So for that, if you search for recharts, okay, this is the one, recharts. You can open it and you can see we have the line charts and a lot of things over here. Okay, so now here, if you click this get started option, and you should be able to see the different examples over here: line charts, area charts, bar charts, and here we are going to use this pie chart. Okay, so we are going to use this pie chart. You can see how the data are being supplied and how they are wrapped up inside within the responsive container, how they are fixing the values and everything. Okay, so you can use these things. So now what I'm going to do is we are going to okay, so let's create a new, in this components folder, I'm going to create a new folder called overview pie chart, because we are going to use the pie chart. Oops, this is not supposed to looks like this because I missed the .tsx. All right, so here now we need to make sure this is the client component, use client. Then we need to import certain things from where, from the pie chart. So let's import certain things from the pie charts. So sorry, the recharts. Okay, because we are going to get the responsive containers first, then we are going to use the tooltip, that is the thing we need. Then we need to use the pie chart, then we need to use the cell, and we need to use the pie, because all these things are really important for responsive containers. And for the tooltip, this is for the main pie chart, and this is the pie for single pies data, and this is the cell in order to customize each and every cell colors and everything. So let's create an interface over here. Interface overview pie chart props, open it, and it's going to get any kind of data. That's the thing. And let's say I'm going to bring, for the coloring purpose, I'm going to bring it over here. Okay, these are the colors I'm going to use, and you can access these things from, okay, I think I didn't add it over here, but anyway, let me add it right now. So you can access these color codes from directly from here itself. So I added it over here. You can copy and paste these color codes inside for your purpose over here, because these things are the color codes which you are going to use for the different level of color sections over here. Okay, so let's get back over here, enter. Perfect. And now what we need to do is I'm going to create a component which is going to be overview pie chart, something like this. And I don't need this import statement over here, delete it. And now inside here, what I'm going to do is basically I'm going to delete this part, which is going to be a responsive container. Open it and close it. Inside this responsive container, now what I need to do, I need to supply the width property and make sure this should occupy the 100% width, and I'm going to fix the height with as 350 pixels, not more than that. Inside this, I'm going to bring the pie chart. Okay, so this pie chart is going to load the pie, okay, which is going to be a self-closing tag. So for this pie, what I need to do is I need to supply the data. Okay, so what I need to do is we need to avoid getting the values as 0, because sometimes we might get the values as zeros as well as, right? So what I'm going to do is, so here we have the data, so let's bring the data over here, which is coming from where, overview pie chart props. We are receiving the data, and we need to make sure that values should not be equals to 0. So filter those data. Filter data is equals to data.filter. Open it, and here I need to get the item out of it, and then item dot value should not always equals to 0, and I'm going to supply that data over here, filter data. Okay, and then we need to use the data key, which is going to be the value is nothing but is the property to use the value for each and every slice. If you check it out over here, see, that is what they are using. Data key is the data 0. This is the data, and the data key is the value, which is nothing but the property which over here. So month wise we are going to calculate the value, so that is what we are going to display. So if month wise, if it is having 0 value, so I don't want to display the 0 month over here. See, just that's what over here, May and April only. Apart from the rest of the month, it's not being displayed over there, because we don't want to display the 0 value over there. That's why we filtered it. Okay, okay then. So now what we have to do is, so we have the value, and right after here, next what I need to do is I need to supply the name key. So the name key, which is going to be the name itself, because that is what we're going to use, just like the value. Then what I need to do is I'm going to get the CX. Okay, so for the CX property, what we are going to use is we are going to the x-axis, which is going to be the 50% of it. And for the CY, wait a minute. Okay, just like the same way, now what we have to do for CY. Okay, then we need to supply the inner radius. What is going to be the inner radius? For the inner radius, I'm going to say 60, and for the outer radius, I'm going to keep it as 80. Then what the fill color is going to be, hash 82 CA 9D. This is the color code I'm going to use. Then what I need to do is we need to get the custom label format, which is you need to display the month and as well as the number. But here you can see it's just displaying the number. So in order to get the custom label format, what I need to do, I need to customize this label. So label, which is going to be, open it, and here get the callback function out of it, and here I'm gonna get the object, and inside this object I'm going to get the value, name and value, and here it is going to return a customized string, which is going to display the name, and after that colon, and again it's going to display the value of it, value. All right, so these are the things, and then now we need to load the data. So inside this okay, so this pie, this is not supposed to be a self-closing tag. Let's open it, and inside this pie here I need to open the data dot map for each of the entry. I'm gonna get the index alone. So here what I need to do is I need to get the entry for January, February, March for each and every entry. Then I need to get the index of it. I'm going to create a cell for each of the entry. Then for this, I need to supply the key. So the key basically it's going to be the cell hyphen along with that index number. Okay. And then I'm going to supply the fill because we are going to customize that cell, right? So basically based on the color, we are going to use that. So for the purple, we're going to have the purple color. Then I'm going to supply the index percentage, which means modulus, divide the purple colors dot length. Okay, so we are going to divide, we are going to get the remainder of that index number divided by the total length. We're going to get the remainder and we are going to use it, that index over here. So we can randomly assign based on the index value. So the higher the number is, the color will be darker. The lower the number is, the color will be light, something like that. Okay, so then right after the pi over here, we need to bring the tooltip as well as. So let's bring the tooltip just like that. That's it. This is all it's going to be the overview chart. Now based on the data, whatever you're going to support is submit, it's going to display the value over here. So let's get back to the overview analytics, and here we are going to export two other things for the chart. So first what I'm going to do, export const get pi graph job created by user. Just like the same way we're gonna have to create for company created by the user. That's it. So inside this function, which is going to have the user ID, which is can be a string or it can be a null empty string. Oops, not like this. So get the user ID not as an object. We are going to get the user ID directly, which is going to be a string or it can be a null, something like this. Then enter. So I'm going to bring the word wrap over here. Perfect. Now here what I need to do is, so this function is basically it's going to return a promise, which is going to return a promise. So that promise is going to be a very specific type, which is going to be pi chart monthly count, and it's going to be an array. So far we don't have this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create this. Okay, so let's create that interface straight away over here. Interface, open it. Okay, so then what I need to do, I'm going to return a name as a string, then I'm going to return the value as a number. This is the type which is going to be number. Okay, name as a string, and this particular function is going to return a promise with the array of that specific type. So far we didn't return anything. That's the reason we are getting that error. So we can fix that later. Okay, so now here if there is no user ID, in that situation we need to return an empty array. Perfect. Then if I do have all those things, now what I need to do, I need to fetch the jobs. So const jobs is equals to await db.job.find many, open it, and here I need to say where the user ID, and I'm gonna order the data by created at the descending order. Okay, fine. Now the job has been completed. So then what I need to do is right after here, so I'm going to calculate I'm going to get the current year. So const current year is equals to new date constructor dot get full year. So we're going to access the complete full year over here. Then I'm going to bring the months. So let me bring the months, nothing but the 12 months like January, February as an array of strings, just like this. Okay, then now what I need to do is we need to initialize the result array with all the months of the current year. So what we are trying to do, we are going to initialize result array with all months of the current year. This is what we are trying to do now. Okay, so right after here, next what I need to do is I'm going to say const monthly count, which is going to be the pie chart monthly count array type, is equals to, because this each of the array of objects inside it should have the name and value path. That's the reason. Now I'm gonna get the month dot map function. I'm gonna get the month along with that index of it. Then I'm gonna create a value object inside here. I'm gonna map the name with that specific month, like January, February, whatever it is. Then I'm gonna collect the value. Initially I'm gonna assign the value as 0. This is what it's supposed to looks like. Later, now what I need to do is we need to create a lookup object for quick update. What we are going to do, we are going to create a lookup function, and which is going to find out that specific count for each and every month, and it is going to update the value in that thing. So far over here, what we did, we just created an object for the each and every month with the name, with the specific name as Jan, and the value for the Jan as 0. Just repeat the same thing for all the 12 months. That is what happening over here. Now using this object, I'm going to update the value for each and every month over here. Okay, so now I'm just going to say const monthly count lookup, okay, which is going to be an object type, and it's going to have the key, which is going to be a string. Okay, it's going to have an array, and that array it's going to have be the pie chart monthly count type. Okay, inside here I'm just going to say monthly count dot reduce. Using the reduce function, I'm going to get the account and I'm going to get the item, which means the month, and along with that. So let's get over here for that specific month, the complete object. I'm going to get that item dot name is equals to that specific item. Then I'm going to return the account. All right. And now all we have to do is to right after here, comma, if nothing is there, return it as this specific key, which is going to be the string, and which is going to be the pie chart monthly count. Okay, this is what basically happening over here. So we are going to look up through each and every of that key object which we created over here. For instance, if you are talking about Jan is going to have an object which is the name and the value. The name is going to be Jan and the value is going to be 0, and that is what we are doing over here. Okay, so we are going to look up through each and everything, and we are going to assign that specific for this specific array. For the key, we are creating the key and we are assigning those things value for each and everything over here. Basically, we are just creating a lookup object for just doing a quick updates over here. Now what I need to do is, now I need to update the count based on the jobs data for each and every month. Okay, so now I just going to say jobs dot for each. Using this for each, I'm going to access this job. Then I'm going to get the function. Now const created at is equals to new date of job dot created at. Using that date, then I'm going to extract the month from that created at. So created at dot to local dates, or sorry, to local string, supply the default string. Then I'm going to extract the month in the short form from it. Okay, this will gives you the abbreviated month name, which is exactly matching this specific month name which we used. Okay, then I'm going to extract the year alone from created at date dot get full year, open it. Perfect. So I'm going to verify if the year is equals to the current year, open it. Okay, so make sure oh, this is not the function. Which is should be this one. If the year which we fetched, which is equals to this one, then what we need to do, wait a minute. Current year. In that case, we need to open the function, the if condition, and if the monthly count loop of that specific month for the Jan or whatever it is, open it, and we are going to access that monthly count loop of that month dot value. I'm going to increment it. So change the property name to, so here over here we are just going to basically using the value, we are just going to increment it. So we are going to find that every job which is created on that specific month, and we are just keep on incrementing it. So finally at the end, what we are going to do is we are just going to return the monthly count. So now we will not get any error over here because of this promise, which is basically it's going to be the name and the value only. So save this changes. Okay, so perfect. All right, so now all we have to do is to use this function one more time in order to get the company's details. Just exactly the same thing. We are not going to do anything else. So I'm going to copy this function from here to here, copy it and paste it one more time. And this time this is going to be company created by users. And I need to fetch the, so wherever the terms I've been used as a jobs, I'm going to say companies. And wherever the term I've been used as the job, I need to change it to company. Now we will not have any issues. Now we have the data which is necessary. So let's get back to the page.tsx and all the way to the top over here. So const graph job total is equals to await get pie graph job get pie graph job created by user, open it, supply the user ID into it, then copy and paste it. And over here this is going to be company total, and this is going to be graph company created by user, just like that. So save those changes, and now all we have to do is to all scroll all the way to the bottom over here, and inside this chart card content I'm going to bring the overview pie chart, and which is looking for the data, and for this data I'm going to supply the pie graph job total. Then I'm going to copy this and I'm going to paste it over here. Then I'm going to supply this graph company total, graph company total, yes, something like that. Save the changes and you should be able to see the chart right now. Look at that. So this is what we have created on the July. I just created 10 jobs so far. I don't have anything on that, and here this is working for perfectly. So this is the total. We have 3 companies, total jobs 10 companies, so which is looking perfectly. So now we finished the having the analytics, and we finished the companies, and we finished the jobs as well as over here. Everything perfectly fine. Now all we have to do, create an GitHub account and push this into GitHub. Open the GitHub and let's create a repository, new repository, and this is going to be YouTube full stack job portal clone, and I'm going to keep this as a private one. Then I'm going to create this repository. Okay, so now I have this repository. So let's get back over here. Okay, so let me open the terminal and stop this. So all I have to do is to copy these things. Okay, either you can simply copy and paste all these things over here, or you can simply add these things over here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to say git init. Okay, so now the git has been successfully reinitiated. Then what I need to do is I'm just going to say git add space dot. So okay, it is not being added. Oops, my bad. So first what we need to do is either you can simply copy and paste it over here. These commands simply copy from here over here, and you can paste it over here. So and over here the git is already been initialized. So all I'm going to give the changes over here, changes project created, and it's going to be deployed. So I'm just going to say deployed. So hit the commit option, And let me get over here, click the remote, add this remote option and add the remote from the GitHub. It's loading. So it is going to authenticate. This is the one which we created, YouTube full stack job portal clone. So click it. And here, let's say YouTube job portal private, something like that. Give a remote local remote name. Perfect. And now it has been connected. And all I have to do is to pull or push to and choose this push to this specific remote. And that is going to push this entire project. And now if I click this, now you should be able to see all the project details and everything will be over here. Okay, and please make sure that env file is not being included over here. Perfectly fine. All right, so now all I have to do is to close this and let me get to the Vercel. Okay, so I'm gonna get the Vercel and here I'm gonna create add new project and which is going to load from the GitHub, import from this GitHub directly. So let's keep it as YouTube full stack job portal. Okay, so if you wish to change this, you can change it over here. All right, and then if you click the environment variables over here, let's open up our environment variable, Control A and Control C, and then paste it over here. All the environment variables will be copied and pasted it over here. Okay, so we don't have to change anything else, and we have to do one more thing. So what we need to do is, so in the package.json, we need to add only one thing, because since we are using the Prisma, so we have to add one script over here, which is going to be the post. So we need to add this command post install. So we need to add this specific script post install, which is going to be Prisma generate. This is the one. So now since we changed this, so let's get back over here. Let's say changes package .json updated, something like that, commit it and push the changes to YouTube portal over here. All right, and let's get back to our YouTube portal, where it is, sorry, GitHub portal, and click this and make sure the package.json is successfully being updated. So here we go, changes package.json is being updated. And now let's get back to our Vercel. Okay, so now we have all those changes and everything over here, and click the deploy option. So this might take a while, so we have to sit patience and let's see what we have, because this might take a minute or a couple of minutes. So let's wait until it's get successfully done. All right, so we ran into an error. So if I check it out, so you can see on the company's create page, so I just used an apostrophe. So what we need to do is, instead of that, we need to add this, because it doesn't allow to use that apostrophe directly. Then we are missing the key prop on the resume form. So we need to add the key from what the line number 143, I think so. All right, so yeah, that's the thing. This is what the issue. So let's get over here and let's open, what's the first file? Let's open the admin company's create page, where it is app dashboard routes admin companies create page.tsx. so where we are using, yep, this is the one, this is the apostrophe. So at this point, what we need to do is we need to add this one over there, copy it and remove this, paste it over there. Okay, so line number 56, this is the place. Yes, so I don't think so we have that anywhere. Okay, then what we need to do, we need to add the key prop on the resume. Come on, resume form.tsx. So where we missed the key, the place where we are rendering it. Yep, I think I missed the key over here. So the key, which is going to be item.id. Is there anywhere else? Nope, I don't think so, because that's the place I think I missed the key prop. So save it And then, yep, that's the thing. That's the thing. Yes, this is the thing. So now all we have to do is to make some changes, bugs fixed, commit it, and push or push to, and choose that one. So this will automatically start building the new pull. So every time whenever you're making some changes, so you have to get back to your project. So you have to get back to your project, and this is the project, right? So click it, and if you click the deployment, and you can see this is the error we got, and this is started building the new push which we automatically pulled from our git. And now if I click this, it will opens that, and it is start deploying and all these things. So let's wait for a couple of minutes. So now it started to creating the optimized build. Okay, so it's compiled successfully. Collecting the page data, it's starting to deploy the pages now. Okay, so now it is building the traces, and there we go. These are the build traces that we have to do. So these are the building traces and everything. Okay, so for we haven't added this not found, so we just checked the condition and we returned it by ourselves, but you can use this not found also. We need to, because if the user directly searching for any specific URL, we need to add this page, but we haven't done. And you can see now the deployment is successfully done. And if you check it out, here we go. So our URL, our project is successfully deployed. Now all you have to do is to click this, and that is going to open it, and we have to log in with ourselves. And let me log in with my same ID, and there we go. See, we have our project ourselves in a live project, and you can see the data is being loaded much faster now. All I have to do is to click the admin, and these are the jobs all I have, and click the companies. So let's click a new company over here, create a new company. Let's say TCS, something like this. Click continue. So it is going to create the job, company created successfully. And let's click the description. Okay, so let's try to upload a logo now. Click here, and let's choose any logo for the time being. Let me keep the Netflix itself. So it's starting uploading now. 100% image uploaded. You can see that image is uploaded. Now if I click save, it is going to save that. So now we successfully created our project and deployed our project, and all we have to do is to all we did, what we did, we just created the we created all this project completely from the ground. We used the Prisma and the MongoDB for our database, and we use the Firebase for our data storage for the image and the attachment storage, and we use the Next.js, TypeScript, and the Shadcn for creating this materialistic UI, and we use the Clerk authentication for working with the authentications and the session managements and all those things. So we successfully developed and built and deployed the complete project on the Vercel, which is completely live on. So this is a nice project for a beginner to land a very good job. So if you love this project, if you have any specific requirements on this, please leave your requirements and everything in the comment section, because if I'm uploading all this content on a single video, it's going to be more than 18 hours. So that's the reason I break it and then uploaded it. Anyways, if you're looking for this as a complete project, I can do that. So we will upload this as a complete project over there. All right, so I will see you on in the next video with the more creative projects and everything.